I'm not good enough. I don't have the experience. The world is not fair. These are the same things I used to tell myself before. But stick around till the end and I'll show you exactly how to get hired in no time. Hi, I'm Som, a UX professional for 1.5 years in a top fintech company. I did a lot of things correctly to get here, but made more mistakes than I had to. So that makes me wonder, with all the knowledge that I have right now, was it possible to become a UX designer faster? 200%. How, you ask? See, with the lessons that I have learned, I will tell you a step-by-step process to follow and give you an approximate timeline along with the resources that you need, with the mentality that you need to have to follow on this journey. Listen, it's definitely not going to be easy, especially with the current market situation, but it's achievable and it's super satisfying when you get it. High paying too.
With that said, let's get started.
First, I'll tell you what you don't need. You don't need to spend countless hours studying every possible design process and tools, which never gets used in your job. You don't have to spend lakhs in colleges or courses. I mean, there are perks to it, but I'll get to that in a bit. So, what do you do then? Most importantly, a right mindset and a clear strategy. My personal suggestion is for you to get into a well-funded startup, either in a full-time or an internship role. Why startup, you ask? Because it's easier to get into these companies than MNCs, and also you get to learn from experienced folks in these companies. Next, don't try to learn everything at once. Learn a little and write your case studies. When you get stuck, use Google. Anyways, you don't have to learn everything. You just need to know enough to get a job. See, no company is looking for a perfect designer. What they're looking for is a person who's a good team player, who can come up with a good design solution, which is useful for the user and also achieves a business goal. Rewind that and listen to that again. And please don't get into a victim mindset when things go wrong, because oh boy, it will. You won't be cracking the first interview that you get. So learn to accept failures. Next, the paid versus the free conundrum. Both have pros and cons, so it's up to you. Go paid if you have the money. Invest. It's an investment in yourself. You can learn design for free on YouTube, but the important thing you get from these paid routes are the networks and the commitments. But it's totally doable in the free route if you have the self-discipline, because you are at no disadvantage. I did it for free and I will tell you everything that is required to get a job.
Now we know what we are aiming for and we have the right mindset. So let's move forward, which is learning the craft.
You'll have to learn two things, a tool and some theory. I said a tool because you actually only need to learn one tool, which is Figma. XD and Sketch are alternatives too. You can take a day or two to learn the very basics of these tools, and that's enough. But apart from this, learning an extra tool like a prototyping tool is just an added advantage, but nothing necessary. For theory, learn the basics of UI UX through YouTube or a small course. Spend a week learning just enough so you can start writing a case study. Don't take a 30-hour course like I did, which I never finished. I was even delusional to think of doing the famous Google UX course, and thank goodness I didn't. It would have set me back by a few months. You think it's necessary right now, but I would suggest that there's a better way to learn the craft. And that's through getting an internship. You'll be getting paid while learning the craft. So remember, learn just enough to get an internship. Before I go to the next section, do the following things. Read Grow Design to understand UX concepts. This is by far one of the most fun ways of learning UX. And to understand UX in a more technical aspect, read blogs such as NN Group or any other such blogs.
By now, you have a basic understanding of UX.
So next, we have the most important thing, your proof of work or portfolio. Aim to get to this stage as soon as possible. Many people ask me what to write case studies on. It's simple. You broadly have three options. One, you can write a case study on a problem you have with a product or a service. This is what I did. I used to find apps that I had a problem with and I used to document the redesign process. Second, you can choose a niche that you're interested in and write a case study on that. If I were to see this video when I was applying to a job, I would have written a case study on a fintech product because that's the field that I'm interested in. Third is a more simpler way of using a case study generator to come up with a problem statement. Having a portfolio with a mix of all this is even better. See, write a case study that interests you or excites you. I've gone over the entire case study puzzle in a recent video of mine, so you can go check that after this. In short, write a case study which follows this structure: a question, an answer, and the process. See, as a fresher, we want to know that you know the process, but don't get too verbose with it. You'll have to explain your process anyway in the interview. Which brings me to a very controversial opinion. Focus on the UI than the UX. See, people won't read your case studies, but they will definitely see. If you can show your case studies in a beautiful manner, you will stand apart. And more importantly, since you have been reading basics of UX and you also have been using well-designed products, you have a knack for UX already. If you can combine this with great UI, you will have a really great chance. In short, shows the design decisions that you took and the way you think along with some solid visuals. Now, if you don't know what a good case study looks like, then try to take inspiration from the case studies of the designers that you look up to, or look at the folks that work in the company that you want to work at and look at their case studies and copy them. Okay, not like blindly copy word to word, but take inspiration from a lot of case studies on their structure, their tone, and their approach, and try to remix them so you can create your own case study. Once you have one case study, go ahead and get some feedback. Remember to get feedback from both designers as well as non-designers. Use something like ADPL list to get some feedback from mentors. You can also use cold mailing for this, but it usually takes more time. If you already have a following on Twitter, which I'll speak more about in a bit, use that to your advantage. For me, cold messaging and ADPL list worked. I got feedback from folks at Grow, OLX, etc. You can use Notion, Behance, Medium, or your own websites to show these case studies. If you want to get a job fast, try not to use your own website because it usually takes more time to set it up. Congratulations, you're basically a UX designer without the employee tag, because you do everything that we do. You found out a problem, you tried to understand the user needs, you came up with a solution, a design solution, and in fact you would have come up with a lot of solutions. You would have come up with bad solution first, taken feedback, rinsed that, and come up with a better solution. And this is exactly what we do day in, day out. Aim for writing one case study in a span of 2 weeks or 3, and when you have 2 to 3 case studies, then go full throttle into the next step, which is, do me a favor, stop using job portals. Okay, maybe not stop, but at least stop relying on them. Write down a list of companies that you want to work at. Find the people in those companies and reach out to them. Write a cold message to them wherein you follow this principle of writing at least one good thing about them and a short intro about yourself, then making an ask, which is usually to refer you. And here's a small tip to make this entire process faster. Have a network of people do it for you. To do this, build an online presence. Go attend meetups and workshops. And when you're applying, make it as personalized as possible and send a cover letter. I know you guys want more tips, so here's tip number 2. Since you're applying to a creative field, try to show as much creativity as possible in the application process. The more eyeballs you can get on yourself by standing out, the better are your chances to get hired. I created a resume which acted as a cover letter. I've seen a Spotify themed resume when a person was applying to Spotify. My colleague recorded a Loom recording when he was applying somewhere. And I've also seen a person blow up on LinkedIn where he created an entire motion graphics reel just to apply for an internship. The more you can stand out, the better are your chances to get hired. And that's pretty much it. If you follow everything that I've told you in this video, you'll be getting way more interviews frequently. I think 3 is a good number to end tips on. So here's my third tip. Schedule interviews for companies that are harder to get into or you might not want to get into. Because even if you fail at these interviews, you'll at least have gained experience from it. And remember, design while you're applying because consistency is king. If you want to know how to ace an interview process, let me know down in the comments below and I will make a video on that. And until then, peace.